Now here's another article in the Clarion on April the 29th announcing that the unveiling of the charter of the Belize UNIA has taken place. And this is what I like now. We're going to get some names. The platform, specially decorated, was reserved for the newly elected officers of the association and league, composing the following ladies and gentlemen. Ladies Division, Miss Ann R. Macfield, President. Miss Wetta Campbell, First Vice President. Mrs. Elizabeth Joe, Second Vice President. Mrs. Edza Lamy, Third Vice President. Miss Eva B. Kane, Secretary. Miss Vivian Say, Treasurer. Male Division, Mr. C.H. Mortley, President. Mr. W.A. Campbell, First Vice President. Mr. Benjamin Adderley, and Vice President, Mr. Calvert Stain. And Vice President, Mr. David Belisario, Executive Secretary. Mr. S.A. Haynes, General Secretary. Mr. B. Renault, Associate Secretary. Mr. J.E. Vernon, Treasurer. Chaplain, Mr. J.N. Anglin. And this is, when the charter is unveiled, read what Samuel Haynes spoke, the words that he spoke. Unto you is given a new commandment under the charter of the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League, which is a charitable, friendly, humanitarian, and expansive society embodying the brotherhood of man and the fatherhood of God. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, soul, and mind, and Negroes throughout the universe as thyself. And the bells of Ethiopia may soon ring to gather children into her fold. Oh man. Very, very deep. Thank you. The charter reads as follows, and this is now the charter that Garvey had prepared. It was a very elaborate document, like a scroll. And when they unfolded it, Garvey and all of the officials in New York signed it. And now here are the people listed in the charter. The people who signed the application for the charter were Charles Henry Mortley, William Alexander Campbell, Isaiah F. Morter, E. Morter, John E. Vernon, F. A. Weir, Alfred Hornley, David Belisario. Those were the foundation members of the pioneering division of the UNIA in Belize. And this is a picture of the great Sir Isaiah Morter, who was one of the founders of that UNIA division. Now notice in the Belize Independent, a man signing his name CMS. What we're going to see, because the Negro world was still prohibited and illegal and suppressed in Belize, many of the Belizeans who wrote to the newspaper expressing their opinion would only sign their name by their initials. Once more unto the breach, dear Mr. Editor, or close the wall up with our people dead. For some time I have been pondering the advisability of agitating for the raising of the ban placed on the Negro world, a newspaper devoted in the interests of the Negro and the official organ of the UNIA and ACL, and have now reached the decisive point. The British had not only suppressed the Negro world, but they were proposing to bring in a new seditious publications ordinance to ban all African American newspapers coming from America. Now here's the Rear Admiral, the seat of British naval power for the entire Caribbean region was Bermuda, was the naval station in Bermuda. And when Britain had to dispatch troops to any of the West Indian territories to put down insurrection, it's the ships from Bermuda that brought the white troops. And here is the Rear Admiral Napier making a report to the Secretary of the Admiralty from Bermuda on the racial situation, racial disturbances situation at Belize. The Rear Admiral commanding the 8th Light Cruiser Squadron after his visit to Belize on the 4th to the 6th of April has forwarded a report on the unsatisfactory state of affairs in that colony. The Rear Admiral gathered that the feeling of the colored community towards the white residents was antipathetic to a marked degree. It appears that British Honduras is much open to and influenced by propaganda of the Negro world style. The governor has not, he considers, sufficiently reliable means to enforce a seditious publications bill if passed. You know what he is implying by that? That governor wasn't sure that if he sought to enforce this seditious publications ordinance, it wouldn't trigger another insurrection. That's what he's implying. He doesn't feel confident that the people of Belize will obey the ordinance if it is passed. And he doesn't have the troops to enforce it. He's not going to take that chance. He knows what happened on the night of July the 22nd, 1919. He says, the colored population has already tasted blood, beaten white men, looted stores in the riots of July 1919, and are to be considered the more inflammable on that account. The proposed withdrawal of the company of the Royal Sussex Regiment at Belize is causing much harm, much alarm among those who have heard of it. You don't realize how close you came, you know. They told us, and they told you, we weren't ready for freedom. They told us we weren't prepared for self-government and independence. Reading this document, is there any greater testament to the bankruptcy of colonialism? They don't trust that the people will obey them. You don't need anything more than that to be ready for freedom. We have been ready for freedom since emancipation. It's these people who kept us under their heel, who held us down, and today many of our problems are simply due to the fact we had to wait for so long to gain our freedom. That's the root of a lot of our problems throughout this Caribbean region. We were ready from long ago. And these bankrupt colonialists didn't understand that people like Samuel Haynes were perfectly ready to step forward into freedom. Excuse my getting a little bit emotional. Now, Samuel Haynes, our great General Secretary of the UNIA, writes on the 10th of May 1920, Sir, the following is a list of the members of the Honorary Advisory Board of the UNIA and African Communities League. The 7 ladies were selected and unanimously elected In the case of the male members, the number of votes are recorded against each name. Ladies, Mrs. Christabel Blockley, Mary Pitts, Christine Usher, Elsie Tucker, Ambassador Tucker? Is she a relative? I wonder. Lillian Lindo, Justine Kane, Annie Bull. The gentlemen, Hubert Hill Kane, Sidney Campbell, Joseph Renaud, George Griffith, Samuel O. Fraser. You know, these, I hate to say this, it seems almost invidious. This is the cream of the Creole black mestizo population of Belize. These are not people to be trifled with. These are serious people, very well educated, completely at home in any sphere of modern civilization. This is the quality of people who joined the UNIA. Today, you need to get it out of your head that it is only the illiterate or the uneducated people who were drawn to the UNIA and the message of Garvey. Some more gentlemen: George Griffiths, Walter Craig, Frederick Allen, J.O.B. Menzies, Aurelio Vargas, Hildebrand Gill, Ernest Cain, Wilfred Young, James Osling, W.V. Young, William Pilgrim, Henry Williams, Peter Flowers. Now, one of the interesting things is that many of these names of individuals belong to the Wesleyan Church. Wesley College was one of the more prestigious Protestant secondary schools in Belize. It contributed in an important way to the social formation of the Creole elite. Most of these people, their names come out of this church group. The other schools are St. Michael's College and St. Hilda's College. The prestigious Catholic schools are St. John's College and St. Catherine's Academy. The Wesley Old Boys Brigade Association had as its objects the encouragement of spiritual, social, and speech evenings, lectures, discussions, and debates. The club presented to the public a number of Shakespeare's plays and also published the Methodist Record, a monthly magazine. Some of the country's best orators made their first speeches in the club room of the WOBA, among them Samuel Haynes.